Hello, everyone. Again, I'm John Seroka with Seroka Brand Development and the Mortgage Technology and Marketing Committee Chair. And welcome to our webinar today, the Homebuyer Engagement Headstart, using technology to build stronger borrower relationships. But before we start, I'd like to thank our MTAM committee sponsors at Tavant. Tavant is a Silicon Valley-based technology company solving the most complex lender and borrower challenges with solutions, services, and Tavant Velox, an AI-powered digital lending suite of products. With Tavant Velox, lenders grow application and origination volumes, they reduce costs, they improve their pull-through rates, and they help borrowers with self-service, pre-approvals, and so much more. If you want to know more, email hello@tavant.com or visit tavantvelox.com, and that's TAVANTVELOX.com, and learn more. And now for our topic today, ladies and gentlemen, the Homebuyer Engagement Headstart, using tech to build stronger borrower relationships. Today, you're going to learn about, first, how homebuyer expectations are evolving. Secondly, why lenders need to engage borrowers earlier in the home buying process. Thirdly, how LOs can become the go-to trusted advisor. And finally, opportunities for technology to enhance borrower relationships and much more. So with us today, I am thrilled to present to you Paul Drobot, Vice President of Sales at SimpleNexus, and Ben Teerlink, founder and CEO at MobilityRE. By way of some background, this webinar is a production of the Mortgage Technology and Marketing Committee. The committee was formed to support the development and dissemination of new technologies and marketing strategies that the mortgage industry needs to embrace. So as we go through this, please submit your questions and I will direct them to the right individual as they come up. Or you can wait until the Q&A time at the end. So with that, Paul, regarding the homebuyer journey, what do lenders need to keep in mind when making decisions about technology investment and building out their digital mortgage strategy?
Hey, John, thanks for the introduction and welcome everyone to our webinar this morning, and very excited to talk with you more about the homebuyer's journey and consumers' expectations with technology in today's environment. My name is Paul Drobot, as John mentioned, Vice President of Sales with SimpleNexus. I've been working with lenders, technology initiatives, and getting the best results with their solutions for over 10 years now, and I've been working with SimpleNexus for just over 2 years at this point. And I love learning more about the industry and what's happening in the lender's world and how technology can really fit into their processes and helping make sure they're providing the best consumer experience as possible. So with regards to the home buyer's journey, it's a really exciting topic. There's been many studies out recently talking about what does it look like for the home buyer's journey? When are they engaging? At what points are they using technology? As a lender, when can I get engaged, involved? What solutions are out there for me? There's so much technology in today's environment, and let's talk about how that can play into your process and give you the best consumer experience that you can have. And I think it's a good place to start is just talking about consumers' expectations in general today. What are they using? How are they engaging with companies across all verticals? So you'll see on the right, we have icons for many famous brands out there in the world today. And some of them, I'll just tell a few quick stories and talk about how it can relate to overall mortgage lending and consumer expectations. You see the Disney app right in the middle there, you have the Starbucks, the TurboTax app. These companies are changing the game and how they integrate their technology with their consumers. The Disney app is a great example. They rolled out this app in 2014. Within 1 year, 60% of their park attendees are now downloading their native app to engage with them while they're attending the parks. Now, why does Disney spend so much on technology, and why is it so important to have a downloadable native app right on that consumer's device? Well, they allow the park attendees to be able to check wait times, purchase more merchandise, sign up for events, see calendars of what's going on at the parks, but it helps them drive revenue by having deeper engagement. A native app installed and branded on the consumer's device helps drive revenue and efficiency and meets those consumers' expectations, because mobile devices and using mobile devices for all these different things is only growing and growing. Another great story is TurboTax. So if you look at several years ago, TurboTax brought out their software so that you can do a complex process like your taxes as an everyday consumer all on your own. Now in 2019, TurboTax has changed up how they're marketing their solution, how they're engaging customers. So earlier in the year, everyone was looking for ways to be able to file their taxes. TurboTax had many commercials, advertisements, and they rolled out a solution that the borrower, or I should say in this case, the consumer, is downloading this app to engage with a CPA, their trusted advisor. So they can do a complex process like their taxes, but they also have the assurance that they're working with their trusted advisor, the CPA, to know that they're doing things right. So you see more and more companies using native apps. And then when you look at the mortgage world, been asked for several years, how do we get this Rocket Mortgage type of experience? And the best way you can have a Rocket Mortgage experience with technology is to have the solution that's personalized on the mobile device for your borrowers. The Rocket Mortgage app has been downloaded over 65,000 times in the last 30 days. Quicken has a IT spend of over 150 million per year. So how is a community lender and organization able to create a scalable technology product to better compete in today's environment? And that's what SimpleNexus does. So when you think about when and how we can engage, it's very important to focus on the earlier that you can strengthen that relationship with the borrower and keep that relationship going forward. Now, what you'll see is some stats in the industry today. Just one of the ones that really shocked me is, we're looking for homes right now, and when I saw this first one, that 35% of home buyers, they bid on a home before seeing it in person, I thought that was a little wild. But it's so competitive in today's market. Inventory is tight. Thought rates were going to continue to increase, but that really wasn't the case. But regardless, it's still very competitive for homes today. And 45% of millennial borrowers are making that offer on a home sight unseen. I mean, that's still kind of a wild number to me to think about how home buyers are interacting today. And it's also important to think about, what is the loan officer's role? Now, if you're just engaging to take that application, a borrower is just going to really want to know, what's your most competitive rate? How quickly can you close? You're looked at more as a commodity. But if you can engage earlier in the process, and you'll see that 62% of Americans, they don't think they can get a home without putting that 20% down. They don't have all the education they need. So being able to engage earlier in that process, when that borrower is just working on that planning and saving, understanding their options, it's crucial to the success in today's competitive environment. So this next study here, I thought this was a great one, the PricewaterhouseCoopers study. It's a 2019 home buyers lending experience. And it's really exciting to kind of look into what are the key aspects and what does that home buyer's journey look like. They identified 5 different phases for the home buyer. They're planning and saving, seeing what they can afford, setting goals for their budgets. They're looking for a home. National Realtors Association put out a stat about 93% of all home buyers, they start the process even before engaging with a realtor, and they're using online real estate search tools, your Zillow, your Trulia, your Redfin. And this is creating a new competitive dynamic for mortgage lenders today. So how can you engage better when that borrower is planning and saving, they're looking for a home? How can you become more of a consultative resource? Now, the other stages here, shopping for a lender, getting a loan, building a relationship, and you'll see the 2 in the middle with the gray bar going through them. That's where PricewaterhouseCoopers found that most lenders are spending their time. They're spending their time during that shopping for a lender phase, and they're spending that time during the getting a loan phase, but not enough in those early phases to engage with home buyers. And I thought this was a really neat chart as well. When you look at how are consumers interacting, like what are they using to get their information, and how are they applying, uploading documents, signing their disclosures, going through the whole process. But there's actually a column that they put in here for mobile app. I've been looking at these charts for a decade of how borrowers are interacting with lenders, I'd never seen a mobile app category. And when you look at the percentage of what borrowers are doing or home buyers are doing on mobile apps, 46% is that pre-application phase. So using technology to engage before they're ready to apply, solidifying yourself as the trusted advisor, the consultative resource. And I just thought the numbers were really interesting when you think about how that native app can play into your technology and your workflows. And one last study here too that was really apparent to me on how important it is to keep the relationship as the focal point. There's many lenders that are adopting consumer direct channels. There's marketing budgets to solicit business in other ways than a traditional retail lender, with the loan officer working with referral partners and building the relationship. But when it comes down to it, it's not all about just having the perfect technology. It's not about, how you're having these different plans and what works for your business model, what fits with what you're doing. And here at SimpleNexus, we traditionally work with the community-based lenders that have tight relationships with referral partners, builders, realtors, financial planners. But it all came back to a relationship. So Fannie Mae did this study, and they looked at what was the most influential resource of information for home buyers. And they found that 84% of people said that it was a person. It was a relationship. 32% said the loan officer, 30% said the real estate agent. But how do you use technology to make sure that it's a focal point of building that relationship so that you can solidify yourself as the trusted advisor and the resource going forward? So technology, it needs to empower that human interaction.
Great, thank you, Paul. Well, Ben, tell me something. How can lenders approach early homebuyer engagement through the help of technology?
Yeah, well, thanks, John. It's such an interesting, subject and topic here that we got to talk about. And, I think Paul did a good job kind of leading into this, and that is that, we can't ignore really how technology is impacting the home buyer right now. You think back, 10, 15, 20 years ago, when a consumer wanted to find a home, they might jump in the car and start driving around and looking for sale signs. They would potentially reach out to a realtor, and then the realtor would have to let them know, hey, here's what's available. Long ago, it was even in a book, and that was the only way you'd know what was available. Well, that's obviously changed a lot. And just like Paul mentioned earlier, everyone goes online now to start searching. And so, what we've seen at MobilityRE and in the industry and out in the market is that, these consumers are all going, to these platforms that were mentioned, to Zillow, to Trulia, to, Realtor.com, to find these homes. But what we have found lenders need to do is try to engage in that exciting part, which is the home search process. And so what we've done is we've put together a platform, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail, that takes that technology, but helps the loan officer and the realtor engage that buyer in the best search. Because really, in the end, what excites and drives the borrower today is not, their mortgage. They have to get the mortgage to get into that dream home. And so really, that's what's exciting and appealing to the consumer is we want to find the home that we're going to live in for the next 10, 15 years, where we're going to, interact and raise families or, work and everything else. It's the home and that lifestyle and what that's going to create for them. So what we are finding is realtors and lenders are struggling with one thing, and that is that all those consumers are going to those platforms like Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia. And the issue for the lender and the issue for the realtor is that the majority of those platforms, are showing all of their competitors. So you can see here, all these other lenders show up on the side, all these other realtors show up on the side. So consumers are clicking on these lenders, they're clicking on these realtors, reaching out to them, and you're losing your clients there. So what we felt to be really one of the most effective and best ways for lenders and for your realtor partners to engage borrowers early in the process is to have your own home search product. And that's what we've created, is the ability to now give your buyers and your borrowers a home search application that does not show competitors, but also is tied in directly to the MLS. Because what we find is Zillow, Trulia, some of these, they are not tied to the MLS. So the data really isn't all that updated. Oftentimes you hear from buyers that, you know, they found a home, they're excited about it, they reach out to an agent, and the agent then tells them, oh, that thing's been sold for 3 or 4 months. So what we're doing is helping lenders engage with their realtors in a co-branded mobile application that allows the consumer to search in the best user experience and the best, most accurate data by tying in directly to the local MLS. And by doing that, it really captures your borrower, plucks them off those platforms, and puts them here where they can now search, and your realtor and you are the contact no matter what they look at, what they do. So, for financing and for, the home that they're interested in, the loan officer and the agent are the go-to and the contact. So, I'll kind of go through and explain and show what that looks and feels like, but that app is basically customized to the realtor with their picture, their branding, their logos, their colors, really just their brand, and none of their competitors obviously show up there. And what we've focused on is giving the consumer that best mobile search product. The thing that's really, really interesting, and you saw, back briefly on a couple slides before, 75% or more of consumers use their mobile device to search for a home. And so what we focused on is giving them that mobile search capability where they can drag a map around, they can put in their areas, they can filter that search down to find the perfect home right on their mobile device using their GPS, or however they would like to on that phone. In addition to searching from their mobile device, we've also found that being able to push properties to that consumer's phone when they hit the market that match their search criteria is an incredible way of engaging that buyer almost on a daily basis. It's often hard as a borrower is just getting approved, kind of doing their thing, to be reaching out every day. But as you set up home alerts with the realtor partner and with this borrower, and they're now receiving properties daily, and you're the loan officer and your realtor partner's face is showing up next to those, that's a great way of staying in front of them and interacting and engaging with them. And what's nice about the platform is we then let the realtor and the loan officer know, hey, these properties are going out to your buyers. This is exactly what they're looking for. These are their search preferences. And, then it gives you a reason to reach out. Hey, did you see that home come through today? That thing looks amazing. Hey, let's finish up this process to get, your loan finalized and approved. So it's just a great way of interacting there. But that kind of leads to the next thing, and that is the home search is very, very powerful. But what we wanted to do at Mobility is also give them the ability to start that loan application with the loan officer so they can search for a home. But as mentioned before, you have Rocket Mortgage, Rocket Home, and that's giving them that one-stop shop. Well, we want to help use lenders have that same functionality and tool. So we have integrated with SimpleNexus to provide what we feel to be the best of both worlds. The home search functionality, but the ability to click apply now and have that go directly over to that loan application process, where now they can apply for the loan. They can be updated on loan status and progress and everything else, all engaged in that one-stop shop searching. And we found that that is what consumers want. They want to be on their phone. They want the most accurate way to search for homes, but they also want to be able to get approved and start their loan process there as well. And we found that through this combined technology with Mobility and SimpleNexus, we're delivering that. And it's been incredible to see and hear how borrowers are engaged in that. They use it, they love it, they share it with their friends, they share it with their family, and that really helps the loan officer stay in front of the consumer, get new borrowers, new consumers, as that platform is now passed along. So, that's what we found, and it's been effective, and it's an exciting topic to see as this all changes, to then have those tools to be able to be effective in the market today.
Great. Well, hey, Ben, thank you very much. Look, you know what? I got a couple of questions that rolled in here, and I think that I'll just break into the presentation here for a moment, because it looks like we're doing pretty well on time. So I have a couple of them here for you. First of all, do you have any thoughts, Ben, on, or Paul, either one of you can answer this. Any thoughts from either of you on re-engaging with a borrower who has stepped away or has become unresponsive?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that if that's all right, Paul. Here's what we found. With our platform and home search, we track all their activity. So we hear this so often from our lenders and their realtor partners, is, you'll engage with them initially, you give them the application, you say, hey, use this to go find a home, use it to get your mortgage. But just like you said, that borrower disappears. They fall off the face of the earth. You're calling them, you text them, no response. Well, what's so cool about this is you don't know their situation. They may have had something come up, a job change or something, or an event that has kind of slowed their home buying process down. What happens is 3 months later, that circumstance changes and they're back in the market. They'll jump back into this platform, and the second they do, we track that, we detect it, and we then notify you and your realtor partner, which is so cool because it happens so often. All of a sudden they're engaging again. Now, they may not have responded to you yet, but you can now see they're back in, they're searching, they're running payments on different properties. That then gives you that little reminder and notice to say, hey, I'm going to reach back out to them. It looks like they're back, they're searching again. And that one thing really helps you kind of gauge if they're back and looking, and then you're able to interact. And we found that helps you convert them down the road. When they've become unresponsive, they jump back in, you figure out why they weren't responding, and you work with them going forward.
Great. Thanks, Ben. Hey, look, I got another question over here as well. And the question is, why create a native application when a lender can use a web-optimized website? Wouldn't a web-optimized website be cheaper to develop and provide equal or more value?
That's a great question. Hey, John, this is Paul. I'd be happy to talk to that a little bit. First of all, I wanted to dovetail off of what Ben had just talked about with measuring activity of your home buyers. And at SimpleNexus, what we've done is we've created that branded experience for the home buyer, and we've given solutions inside that native app to engage with that home buyer. What do they want to do when they're planning and saving? They want calculators to be able to understand what they can afford. If things change, my down payment is going to be adjusted. What does that do to my monthly payment? Make sure that they know and have clarity of the home buying process with other materials to learn. And one of the best parts of our solution is we measure everything that's happening. So when that home buyer downloads the app to be able to use the calculators, search homes, we track it all, and we notify the loan officer and the real estate agent so that they're getting constant notifications, so they know where to spend their time. And they also know who is the buyers that are should be followed up with, and what they're looking for is especially crucial, because you can take that data and create a map of what they expect from you and be able to follow up appropriately. And now I think the other part of that question, I think that's something that we've looked at for a long time, right? So you have a mobile web solution, it's responsive to the device, and then you have a downloadable native app. And if you look back at that first slide, we don't have to jump to it, but those are all companies that are using a downloadable native app. There's things that you can do with a native app that are completely different from the experience for the consumer than if it was a web responsive application. And some of those things just create deeper engagement just in general. So if you have an engagement tool that is shared to promote referral business like a native app, it can be very impactful on the business. So there's lots of things that with a native app, they provide a different experience that help drive revenues, efficiencies, consumer responses, notifications, transparency. It's just an overall better experience to promote more referral business with a native app.
Yeah, I would think that that makes sense, because you couldn't send notifications the other way, right? You can't really do any marketing the other way. You don't have as much access to marketing, right?
Yeah, I would
agree. Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, and one thing else I wanted to do is, okay, you think about that native app and the consumers, and you have stronger engagement with a home buyer. Well, what does that mean? We have a slide on here to talk about benchmarks and what you can expect with using a native app versus a web application. But I'll just tell a quick story. I'm actually out here in Wisconsin, and one of our clients is a sizable lender that's based in Wisconsin, and they use our native app, and they use a website for applications, and 40% of their business are borrowers that are coming in to apply face-to-face. But what they did is a study, and they looked at every home buyer that was using the native app versus a traditional channel, and they found those loans to close on average 5 to 10 days quicker. And it equated to almost a 20% reduction of the overall turn time of the process. So when you can provide a solution that's giving push notifications for, we now need a letter of explanation based on a large deposit that we saw in your verification of assets report, if they get a push notification, they see that, they react quicker. Email, phone calls, some of those more traditional methods of communication, they're not as impactful. When a borrower gets push notifications that are popping up front and center, they respond, they react quicker, they can sign their disclosures, they're able to upload their documents, do everything from their mobile device. It helps them move the process along quicker.
Let me maybe throw one thing in, if that's okay, to add to that, and I'll go brief on that because we've been talking about this for a minute. But what we've done too on the home search part of that, knowing that initially when you're trying to engage that borrower to start searching and finding a home, that we agree that sometimes forcing them to download and install a native app on that part of it might be a barrier, and it might deter them from doing it. So what we do provide in the home search is a responsive web application. And then once they're using that, liking it, finding homes, they then have the ability, it pops up and says, hey, if you like this, feel free to download the native version. And so we kind of like to try and ease them in, get them on the web-based version, then you can get them to install that native. And just like was mentioned, once they're in, then they can start doing some of those things like uploading documents and other things that you can do in a native app. But we're finding that if we can try and engage them, bring them over slowly with a web app, then get them native, really effective. And that's worked really, really well. So
nice. Okay. Another question came across here, and we do have time. What about RESPA issues?
Yeah. You want me to jump in, or Paul? You tell me. I can do that because we have really more the realtor product, and we hear that question all the time with our lenders. So it's really kind of unique how we've built our platform. We've been doing this now over 10 years with lenders and with realtors. And that is that we have built tools that really benefit the realtor in terms of the home search. But then there are also the banners in there where they can click through be redirected to SimpleNexus to do the loan application. And so what we've done and the way that we structure is we say, okay, we will work with a lender. The lender will pay Mobility for a banner across these home search apps. And that banner, as you saw, is an Apply Now button that then takes them into a SimpleNexus platform where they can start their loan process and application. Then Mobility's model is that we go to the agent and say, agent, you can have this platform at no cost to you as long as you'll let Mobility put this banner across here. And that banner across is the lender. So the lender is paying Mobility for advertising. Mobility then gives apps to realtors at no cost as long as there is a banner. So we kind of refer to it as the Google model. You can watch YouTube all day long for free as long as you'll watch that ad. Realtor can have an app all day long for free as long as it has an ad. That way lender's not giving it, Mobility is, lender pays for advertising. And in over 10 years, we've never run into issues with compliance by structuring it that way, and it's worked really well.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, you know what? I got several questions at this point about whether or not we're going to be able to provide this recording later. Some people have lost connections or put out a fire or something like that. The recording is available later. Dustin, it's on when you post this on the YouTube channel?
So it'll be up later today on both our YouTube channel and on the MTAM page on our website.
Okay, perfect. All right, next question for you, Paul. Paul, in what ways can mortgage executives adjust their tech stacks to better enable their loan officers to engage with borrowers?
So empowering the loan officer, and it's a very essential part to think about when you're creating your tech stack. And what does that look like, and how do the loan officers interact with the solution? When I'm talking to lenders, I hear a lot about, what is my borrower experience, which is absolutely crucial. But if you're thinking about your borrower experience, you really need to be thinking about your loan officer's experience, because they're the face. They're out as the trusted advisor, working hand in hand with this home buyer to help educate them, get them into the right product, and bring them through and guide them through the entire process. So when you think about your overall tech stack and what does your tech stack cater to, or who does it cater to, the loan officer can be a real key element here. Now, the borrowers, what they're having trouble with is, how do I get my documents to you? What's coming next in the process? What exactly is happening right now? Am I in the right product? There's a lot of uncertainty there in the borrower's mind. So creating a transparent process for the loan officer and the borrower is very essential, because that loan officer is that trusted advisor that's out working with these borrowers and helping make sure that they're comfortable and having a great experience. And then you can't forget your referral partners. Referral partners, they want to know how the transaction is progressing. A lot of the same things as the borrower, where it's at, what's coming next, are we going to get this done on time, and am I going to be successful with my sale? So when you think about this stack, and I talk to a lot of lenders and they have 3 different systems for this. They might have a loan officer solution. Some loan officers do things in their LOS or a CRM or a different product that may not be integrated. Then they have a borrower experience with an online application, which really kind of is status quo today. It's a commodity in the industry. Everyone needs to have an online app, but it doesn't really differentiate you at all. And then you need to think about, how is the realtor engaging, getting these notifications? Do they feel like they're part of the process, and is it transparent for them too? So what we've done at SimpleNexus is we've created a mobile solution for all 3 of those parties. And it takes 27 different entities and a lot of different things going on behind the scenes to close on a mortgage file today. But now, how do these different entities consume this information? And it's mobile. People have their phones, they're spending 4+ hours a day on their smartphone. So if they can get things like push notifications, real-time requests for documents, sign your disclosures, all the updates of the process right on your mobile device, it removes that uncertainty and creates a great experience for everybody that's involved in the process. So what we've done is we have a co-branded solution. So now the borrower, the home buyer, will be able to engage with one app that's downloaded to their mobile device. They have both their trusted advisor for the real estate and for the mortgage process front and center, ask questions, communicate, search for homes with the MobilityRE solution, plan and save, understand their payment process, learn more about working with the lender, go through the entire mortgage process, sign documents, and get all their updates in one account. And if you think about that from a home buyer's world, they could have 3, 4, 5 different accounts, websites that they're going to, and we've simplified that all so it's right on their mobile device. So that's a transparent process, one username and password, not having to use all these different sites, not clicking on a property on Zillow and then receiving 5 phone calls from national lenders that are buying leads from Zillow. So it creates just a better overall experience for everyone that's going to be involved. So empowering these loan officers with our co-branded solution, we have over 65,000 instances of the co-branded solution out there. And how it's set up is a loan officer can, let's say a realtor, for example, can walk into the realtor's office and I have a solution that we can use to engage better with our customer. You can download the app, it's branded to the agent, their profile, their bio, listings, other information about the home buying process, and that borrower has it then downloaded and they can engage for each part of the process with the home search and with the overall mortgage. But having those loan officers have the ability to do things on the go, they can respond to things quicker, they can react, they can have a tighter connection with their referral partners, all things to promote doing more business with my referral partners and having a better borrower experience. So what we've done with the solution and the mobile originator platform, one, it's tightly integrated with other systems. So we have over 80 different service providers that are integrated into SimpleNexus. We don't force you to choose a certain credit provider or a certain VOA provider. We don't charge partner revenue sharing. So it's very straightforward where you can choose your services and you can leverage the SimpleNexus architecture and app to be able to drive more business. So we have things that are integrated for the loan officer, such as being able to order a credit report. And it's not just simply ordering the credit report and they see the scores. The loan officer can push the button on their phone, order the credit report for that account. They see the full credit report. It integrates back to the LOS system, so there's no redundancies or rekeying of data. They'll be able to do other things like price a loan, send a pre-qualification or pre-approval letter in 30 seconds from their mobile device. They'll be able to get all the updates on the appraisal, see a copy of the appraisal when it comes back, order the VOA. All these different services integrated right on the loan officer's mobile phone. It's a 24/7 business. We are working, one story that's fresh in my mind is working with a company that's actually out in Michigan, and they were getting 30, 40 requests for pre-qual letters on the weekend. Their loan officers, if they wanted to be able to provide the service that their realtors expected, they would have to jump on their laptop, log into the LOS, create that letter, deliver it. It's a 20, 30-minute process. And if you're out and about, you're not going to do it till you get back, maybe the next day. But it's not that service that the referral partners and the borrowers are looking for today. So we invented the ability for the loan officer to create that pre-qual, 30 seconds. You can be out at the kids' soccer game, deliver that to the referral partner, to the borrower, done. And then from a compliance standpoint, it integrates so well with the LOS system, everything's coming back. So we're saving a copy of that letter, date, time stamped, all the other details that you need to store and track, so that again, there's no redundancies. To create a great loan officer and borrower experience, it's a lot about those downstream effects. How does it integrate with other systems? Making sure that data flows efficiently throughout the process. So creating all those services for the loan officer, this engagement tool for the borrower, allowing them to do home search, co-branded solution, it provides a lot of value. And when we talk to our clients and we analyze the data that we have coming in, some real key statistics stand out. So I'd like to share these just as a benchmark to what our clients are doing with our solution. Now, the 70% lead conversion rate. We had a few loan officers. We even had a quote from a large company out in New Jersey talking about how when their loan officers share that app, or the app is shared from a family or friend, 70% of the time that lead becomes a borrower. You think about that number, it's pretty incredible because you're engaging with leads constantly. There's so many different competitive pressures with Quicken commercials all over the place, the customer engagement early on at Zillow, or Trulia, or Redfin. How do you keep out those competitive pressures? Sharing that native app, that's one other item I'd like to mention in comparison to a web application. It's a far deeper engagement level when they download your app versus just coming to your website. Regardless, not many people bookmark websites on their mobile phones, but they download apps. So a few other ones, I won't go through every single one here, but you think about from the idea of the mobile originator solution, First Community Mortgage, they told us how they were producing about 35% more volume through their referral partners with our co-branded solution. They also said it would take them about 25 minutes to do an application, key it into the LOS, and now they can share the app. A borrower can do a pre-approval application in under 5 minutes. Loan officer gets it instantly on their phone. They can order the credit, review the file, issue the pre-qual letter, done. So you're taking process that's typically hours into minutes when you bring it to the mobile environment. So there's lots of other things I'd love to share about our studies and stats, but those are a few that really stand out.
Hey, Paul, a question came in here for you. Can you enroll a buyer without attaching an agent for the buyer that doesn't want a salesperson early in the search?
So now I'm going to make an assumption there with more of a generalized app that's not specific to a loan officer is what I'm assuming the question is, and more maybe in a consumer direct type world. But without further context, you certainly can. So you can have a solution that's not branded specifically to a loan officer. We do have integrations with our LOS systems that as soon as a loan officer is assigned, automatically will flip it over to the branding for that loan officer. So thinking through that overall operational process has been something that we've done, because to maximize your opportunity in mortgage lending, you need to be able to meet consumers' preferences, and consumers' preferences change, and some borrowers will want to come in to apply, some will call you, some will go online, but we've developed the system so that you have an integration that'll work for you regardless of how that consumer starts the application.
Okay, great. Another question here. What considerations do lenders need to keep in mind regarding integration capability when looking at various digital mortgage platforms?
Yeah, great question. And to simply answer that one is it's got to talk to the other solutions as best as possible, as tight of integration as you can get. We've had to come into organizations that were using other third-party products, and they had been for a year or two. And I'll tell you, the biggest issues and the reasons they came to SimpleNexus weren't because of the borrower and how they apply or the loan officer solution. Like, we offer a lot of great stuff there that provides value, but some of the things that are underneath the covers, so to speak, can be the most impactful to the experience of the borrower. And that comes down to those integrations. You know, how well can your processors, underwriters, do they need to use another system and interact, or can they keep their job process and systems that they use the same? There's so many downstream things to think of that if you don't think those through with your integrations, they can negate any borrower experience or front-end experience that you expected to gain. So extremely important to think about the overall process and how everything works together.
Great. You know what? Here's a question of the day. Excellent one. What about wire fraud and risk prevention? Can either of you speak to that?
Ooh, I don't know if that's, I don't know if I'm there to speak to that. Maybe Ben?
You know, on our side, we really power more of the home search. So we're not gathering or taking, any, of the financial or personal information that way. And so, you know, it would probably be more of a security question on that side of, you know, entering that information and on wiring and, you know, funds. But we don't do that on our side. We're more of the home search.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we would have a similar answer there too. We're not working on those types of transactions. We're engaging and connecting everyone in the process, but typically those types of prevention and systems are going to be engaged throughout your loan origination system or different parts of the process.
Right,
Okay.
and the title companies and attorneys there. So.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Well, very good. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions coming in at this point. So, all right. Well, look, with that, we're going to bring this webinar to an end. However, if you could all do me a favor, please, this would be awesome if each one of you guys could do this. We want to make sure that we do our best to deliver quality content every single time. So a special favor to ask of all of you, you'll be receiving a survey within an hour, right, Dustin? About an hour or so?
No, it should actually be sooner than that. It'll be almost, you know, pretty quick after the webinar is concluded.
Awesome. Okay, great. Please, everybody, take the time to fill that out. Let us know what you thought of today's webinar. Also, if you have anything that you would like to learn about in future webinars, please let us know that as well. We really appreciate it. Thank you all again and enjoy the rest of your days.
Thanks.